Hey, Ghost. Sorry, had something playing in my ears, so I wasn't paying direct attention. How you doing today? I'm okay. Just being chill. Come on. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Stuck bullshit. Ah, I hate that. The one thing I don't like about this spell is the targeting's really flaky. And I agree, the dogs are obnoxious. In the capture area? Oh, you mean going down to the Maiden? No. I just run to the Volcano Manor. I know people will get captured by it and end up in the belly, but that costs me 1,000,000 runes. Even still, I wouldn't. I would just run to the Volcano Manor. Now it's really about getting to the bosses, you know? Alright, I gotta mess around with... Oh, I don't have the hat on me. Ah. Well, that explains that. Like, why didn't I put the hat on? That's why. Keep with this. Oh, it's Tish. Oh, that's funny. Hey, Tish, how about you do some damage? What do you think? Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, it's really about boss hopping, right? It's about getting, getting the coinage for bosses. Such a short list, it's funny, isn't it? You know why? Because I haven't done the Great Rune. It's one thing I'm missing from the list, I just realized. So much. Not that I want that Great Rune anyway. Oh, nice. Yeah, the Maze Teleport Dungeon, man, that thing is such a bane. Let's see. Alright, sword chest. Hats. There we go. Ah. There we are. Ah. is the area. I just went through this area on Convergence, actually. What? Shit. Ow. Yeah, I'm doing for a moment anyway, I'm doing a caster playthrough. Hey, Grey Knight. What did I do my setup as? Yeah. I have the dex to do cool things, but that's about it. Oh, and look. I'm actually using this item. I was trying to think, like, what... Oh, that reminds me. Before I forget. Actually, I want that. There isn't anything that's going to improve frost damage or improve magic damage other than, I mean, I could do another, what's that, like 3% or something from this guy? But for the frost build, I'm pretty sure this is the only thing that actually makes a difference. Anyway. There we go. Oh, that reminds me, I don't want Tish. That. This for now. Just go. Really? I need stamina. There. Lord. There it is. Oh, it didn't reach. It's funny. It's not reaching. Oh, good Lord. Man, so many hit points now. And the problem is I'm going to run out of blue. Alright, hold on. Ow, 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 ow,
no! Come, O cruel dragon. Thy fate lies
oh, good
under
Lord.
mine.
Man. I'm not used to doing such little damage. All right, well, there's a couple things I have to change. The first thing is I have my flasks are wrong. That's the first thing. Second thing is I don't think this spell set's going to work very well with her. Yeah, she's weak to bleed. The question is what else is she weak to? How's she against fire? Pretty much everything's weak to bleed. I may have to melee build this one. That's fine. If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna want a better dex weapon. It's really strength, but ng+13. And then, lastly, what is my physics set to? Oh, I got a few things to consider. Yeah. Um. It's the, it's because there is nothing you can do when the few bosses you desperately need that for hit for 80% of your hit points. Guard is the only way to survive. Um, if you're doing like an entirely dodge-based build, and if the boss hits you once, you're just dead instantly. One mistake in a 10-minute fight and you lose. So you've got the points to stick them in there. You may as well just go all in, you know? I'm going to... Yeah. Hold on. We're going to do a pretty significant rework here. Give me a sec. That in there. And I do want this. And I can't do that too. This is just for this fight. This, okay. That's weird. Oh, that's why. Okay. This takes two. All right, hold on. I'm doing a pretty significant changeover here. Now I want, hold on, I want the gravellstone. Sword chest over here. Alright, I want magic, I want lightning, and I don't want extra, I want empowered. I definitely don't need you. No. Let's wait. There we go. That should eke out some damage. Hey, nice job beating Radon. Consort or Star Scourge? Both impressive fights in any case. Uh-oh. Not much. This one, wait, the choir talisman? Do you mean these ones? These guys? This adds like 4% and 8%, I think. That's what I was debating, is if I want, is it even worth 4% or it's probably better to have some. Maybe extra regen. Nice. I should have pushed the lift up. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna summon my Mimic with this setup. Will do.
Weave thy night into
See the difference between magic and lightning? So I'll explain the build too. Keep in mind that this is that my stats are all so high that the build is about the gear, not the stats. But I'll do my best to explain the stats that you would do for this build. So this setup is basically the Ancient Dragon Lightning build. And it's centered around the fact that I'm using the Death Knight armor set, although there is a second option for doing this. The Dragon armor set enhances skills and incantations. That's part of the thing. It's skills and incantations of the capital's Ancient Dragon cult. The Ancient Dragon cult are most of the lightning spells, and a couple of weapons will actually the skill attacks of those weapons will all be increased by wearing this set. Couple that with the Empower Talisman. So there's a YouTube video out there where they say that the Godfrey icon is not worth using with this build because most of the attacks in this build are not charged, and that's actually not true. So what they're referring to specifically is the Knight's Lightning, what's called Knight's Lightning Spear, is what they're talking about. This set is from the DLC. It's in kind of a hidden chamber. If you know the DLC, the tomb that you go in, where you have to keep turning the lights on as you go down, in the area where you're going to throw the switch for the second area, which is easy to skip to, by the way, so it could be the first one you get to. But in that section, as when you go to get to the switch, you go kind of behind a pillar. There's a hidden guy up here. You go up the stairs, across, down. You eventually go to a spot where there's a lever that you pull. When you jump off to get down to the stairs, so you keep going down, go up. And up to the right, there's a broken section of railing. You hop down that broken section of railing, and there's a tiny little thing you can walk on, and you go back into that next room, and there's a couple of imps in there, and one of those guys that casts those, whatever it's called, the spell that like keeps rebounding back and forth. Anyway, he keeps casting that spell. Once you clear that area, if you go to the far end of the room, there's a body, and that body has this armor set on it. There's YouTube videos that show you this. Anyway, so this spell, the Knight's Lightning Spear, in normal mode, has a primary attack and 4 secondary attacks. In the charged mode, it has the normal attack and 6 special attacks. The enhancement of the damage on the 6 attack is minuscule, but the primary lightning actually gets amped quite a bit using Godfrey's icon. So I think that I've done testing and it was a substantial increase in power. But more importantly, the spell that you use on the big body bosses, if you know that you're going into a dragon fight, or you know that you're going into a where is it? If you know that you're going into any fight with a boss with a very large body, you're going to use Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike. This is a chargeable spell, and it does a ton of damage. I've played lots of games as much as this, but generally speaking, I play one game until I'm done with it. I actually played Elden Ring all the way through. I have... hold on. Here, look.
Where did he flee, my sweetings? Come out.
So, since I started streaming, I have only played... Well, correction. I've only streamed one character with a few exceptions where I'm explaining stuff, right? This character, and this character all I all played them before the DLC came out. I think it's this one. One of these has never even been to the DLC, and I played the crap out of the game until Ordovis Greatsword. I don't even know which one that is, so no, I haven't. I played those characters quite a bit, and then I stopped playing Elden Ring for a while. Then I saw people streaming it, and I'm like, man, that game was awesome. And I went back and I started playing it again, and now I'm playing it again. And this character is the one that I've been streaming. Although this one gets, I stream this one sometimes only to explain low-level stuff, like starting a game and all that. And the reason I got attached to Elden Ring is it's an awesome game. I mean, I think that one's self-explanatory. So my goal here was, Orvis's longsword? Or greatsword?
Where did he flee, my...
Ugh, you're irritating, lady.
Where did he flee, my sweetings?
Let me see. That's a standard move set. Interesting. The one that I played for a while, and I don't have it on me, is Marius's Executioner Sword, which has that front drill attack. I did that the last playthrough. Interesting. Huh. All right. What was I working on? I was trying to do a sorcery style playthrough. I just wanted... She's just particularly resistant to that kind of a build. Let's see... Here... let's see... What was I doing? I was doing... Magic... That... There's no reason to have Godfrey's icon for this. There's not actually much to augment sorcery. My dex is high enough that I don't need Radagons. Guess defensive. Alright. And spells. So now I'm going back to my previous spell set. Alright. Alright, so the intent was Duelist Moonblade, although it's not performing the way that it usually does. Can always use Night Comet. Guess you could put Terra Magic in there. Do something like that. Yeah, and I'm so far beyond because I've got so many stats, right? If you're doing a pure int build, you're actually more likely to use a sword like this, or I didn't take any of them. I was trying to think if there was a good. I don't think I have any of the other magic. Oh, of course. So there's also Moonveil, of course, and Moonveil is actually fits within the design very well because I'm int Dex, and then there's Dark Moon Greatsword. After that, there's not a lot. Looking for. Here we go. Moonveil. Yeah. So Moonveil's a good choice, just for the obvious, right? That's sort of an obvious choice of abilities to use. Yeah, that's the one that I usually go for, is I do that build. You know, the funny thing is, I never really got that into this. I just never really got that into this sword. Not for any, like, specific, you know, I think it's poopy somehow. I just never really got into using it. Maybe this will be the center of what I'm doing. Up. I don't know. It is. The Lion's Claws are really good. It's a fast. It's a relatively fast skill. One of the things is that many of the powerful skills are slow, and they expose you to basically getting stomped really fast. This one doesn't really have that issue. Or Lion's Claw doesn't have that issue. It's fast enough that you can just kind of really get it out there. Do want to go get the lift pieces. This wolf's gonna get cheeky. Which one? Equipment loads 104 of 160. I actually have room to spare. Let's see. I can't quite go to, like, Malekith's. Yeah. Really? I believe you. I'm just curious. Can you put it on any weapon? Nope, not that one at least. Let me see. Eruption? Is it this one? I know there are builds based on prelate's charge. Eruption. Interesting. Swords, axes, large and colossal swords, axes, and hammers. Interesting. So... something like that. And then, let's see. Oh yeah, flame arc's much bigger. Let's see. That one? Oh, nice, Minga. One popular one is the magma blade. Yeah, that's what I've struggled with, and that's why people ultimately at the very high levels switch to thrusting weapons. Because you can hide behind your shield. It seems kind of crazy, but it's super effective. You know, and with a build like this, I don't have the helmet on. Actually, that reminds me. Wait. What's my spell set now? Oh, that's why. Yeah. Hardest, what do you mean by stance, from a stance break perspective? It's one of the hardest hitting, or do you mean like it does the most damage per hit? Because that belongs to a dagger. Misery Chord has the highest crit. I mean, you have to crit, but you said Alabaster. Is that Alabaster's is a great sword? Is it actually a great sword category? Alabaster Lord Sword? Is this the one you're talking about? That thing's tiny. Look at that. It's a tiny little thing. That really hits that hard? Wait, for reals? I'm not doubting. I'm just surprised. Alright, I have to use its ash. Hold on. Sombers, sombers. Do I really want to blow an ancient dragon somber? Oh, hello.
Great, my name isn't this around? I never knew, although I'm still looking.
You're in no matter.
Wait,
how
what
you are.
bug? The fact that it hits like a truck?
Look how she's cracked. She has it. I saw in their eye. I see nothing special. I'm trapped mercenary. Well, no crap. My being besides, despite my decides here.
All right, let's check it out. Hold on. God dang it. I want to get her set up.
It's all a bit. I'm still looking. I don't believe if I do. I suppose I'll ask. Certainly, I know he's. I can tell. If I suppose I'll ask Master.
I'm just doing the little
Back no matter.
setup to get her.
Look at my hoods. Absurd. I don't.
All right. I'll look in a sec. Give me 1 sec. All right. I'm curious. All right. What is it scaling? Scaling's, I mean, it's only 100, right? It's off of, it's got int. So from that perspective, it's a decent int weapon. Let's see. I'll compare it to Dark Moon. So I'm not going to buff it or anything. I'm just going to hit as I'm built. Come here. 678. 678. All right. What's this guy do? Dark Moon hits harder. A lot harder. Is it a heavy attack thing, maybe? Uncharged. Charged. That was 1035. Okay, uncharged. Ow. Oh, I gotta go find another guy. I didn't get the charged heavy in. This hits harder, man. I don't know. I mean, I'm just testing. Maybe I've got the wrong stuff. Blasphemous Blade. Ah, why did I pick that up? I ain't buying it. Now, maybe it's a massive stance breaker. That I'd find believable. Also something that's fairly testable. Bleed now. I mean, I'm trying to, when you say it hits hard, I'm assuming you mean the amount of damage that it does. And both Blasphemous Blade and Dark Moon Greatsword hit harder from a damage perspective. But I'm curious, maybe it's from a stance break perspective. That would be different. Let's see. These guys are interesting to stance break, so that's why I'm heading up there. So, alright, I've got alabasters. Here we go. So now I'm wearing 2 int swords. Ah, come on. 3. Ow! Hey, come here. Alright, he never stance broke. Not with his sword. Alright, get rid of those guys. Alright. So this is yeah, I don't know. Maybe they did fix it. Maybe it was fixed. I don't know. Those were all heavy attacks, by the way. Or at least they were supposed to be. Yeah. Blasphemous definitely stance broke him. I'm not sure. Maybe I got the wrong sword? Alabaster Lord Sword. Maybe it is the maybe it's the skill. Let me see. It's the only thing I can think of. This is, even the special's not stance freaking. I don't know, man. Okay, do you know what buffs? I'm not trying to prove you right or wrong either way. I'm curious and that's it. Do you know what buff triggers it? sword is so small. Come on. I finally got a stance break in. But again, that was more than it would have taken. Man, it is so short. All right, well. I'll do some research. I'm curious. I mean, it would be if there's a build that you can wrap around it, that'd be pretty cool. But at least at the moment, my results may vary. Hey, Virgil. Yeah. All right. Moonveil. Let me get that staff back, and let me get the shield back. Oh, does this hat affect Moonveil? Or for that matter, does this... Alright, we have some testing to do now. So, I'm curious if the Carrion Sword will buff Moonveil. It's an easy test. Just need this guy to be aware. Alright, 1266. $12.66. So, the staff has no effect on Moonveil. Does the hat? No. That's because my int went up by 1. There's a test for that. Oh, maybe he was unaware. I do. I'm wearing DLC armor, actually. Yeah, 1266. Alright, so those have no effect on Moonveil. That's a bummer. Do they have an effect on Darkmoon Greatsword? Well, yes. I mean, that's a level thing, right? So, do the hat and or staff have an effect on these guys? Start with testing this. Nope. 1002, but I may have hit him with a sword. Alright, 1002. Let's lose... Actually, let's just lose the hat and the staff both. If it's still 1002, then we know neither one of them has an effect. Yeah, so neither of these are affected by the hat or the staff. That's a bummer. Are you aware the staff lost power? Yes. I am. I just don't have enough room for all the staves that I want. This empowers the um, sword sorcery spells, which should include a Duelist Moonblade. So if I... Oh wait, that. Not going to use you, not going to use you, not going to use you. Ah, dang it. I forgot to take it off. Sword chest. I'm not going to use... I'm not going to use you. Are there any other... I'm just curious if there are any other magic. No. What I'm curious if there's any... What all this... Alright, hold on. What's this guy do? Okay, I'm curious if this is affected by... Yep. Not really. I don't think so. Alright, 797. 797. Now, will it do the same without this staff? That's what I'm curious about. Staff has no effect. Huh. Alright, well, you're no good. I doubt it works with Wings of Estelle. $731 it looked like. $731, still no effect. Alright. Just trying to figure out if there's any... I haven't done a Berserker setup. The problem is that I'm a more caster/defensive playstyle, and so whenever I pick up a very aggressive melee style, I have a lot of difficulty with. For the weapon class it is, I buy that. I don't buy it for across all weapon classes. There are so many super high stance damage weapons that I'm just not convinced that that's the case. But maybe I'm wrong. And this is, the chicken leg is supposed to be like some ridiculous... Not gonna mess with that for this build. Honestly, the real secret damage, the real weapon, Bolt of Grand Sax, is this. And that's without any lightning amplification. So, I was showing something to people earlier related to bleed proc. So, I'm not going to say that your statement is false. I don't think that's true. However, it is not enough to say that... yes, it can. It's not enough to say that an item generates the most bleed damage per hit. It's the per hit that actually really matters. Let me give you an example. So I'm going to give you the most ludicrous example that I can. Here and... where's my axe? Okay. Now, I can't do this example here. These guys don't survive long enough. I gotta go... I need to go here. Well, I don't need to. I don't have to go there. There's... I can go back up to the shelf where those guys wander around. Alright. So, if you look at the difference between these weapons, this has a blood loss buildup of 159. This is a blood loss buildup of 46. So clearly, the axe is a higher per hit bleed buildup. I don't think there's any argument from anybody there. It also builds up rot. That's not what I'm after. Get up on the thing. So, using the axe... So, in all of that, I got 2 bleed procs. Right? Watch this. One. Two. But much faster fight. Hold on. These freaking bats. Get rid of these guys. Right. Giant in Stormvale. Needs the stamina. Another bleed proc. So the question is, which weapon does more bleed? Right? And the answer is it depends on how you measure which one, what you consider to be more bleed. The thrown knives produce a ludicrous amount of bleed buildup because it's just... they're small jumps, but they keep jumping really close. Where the boss it sits. Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about now. That's fair. This one. Oh, I missed the dodge. So, oh, yeah. Those guys are interesting. So, the actual amount of bleed that you get per hit is interesting, but without talking about how often you hit, it doesn't really matter, because there's not enough information to talk about whether or not... Ah, come on. See, personally, I'll take the thrown weapon. I think you can see why. Yeah, it does, but that's a per hit. If it hits every 10 seconds... Like, I got a bleed hit, but I didn't ever need it. I played with a snake shield a little bit. It's weird. The thing is that that's the buckler, right? That does the snake attack. When I'm using shields, I'm using them purely defensively. I don't really get much from the actually... There we... Nope, still wasn't a bleed hit. Now, mind you, this weapon's not upgraded, but its bleed buildup shouldn't be too heavily affected by that. I guess the amount of damage it does affects that. So... Actually, let me show you something interesting about poison buildup that I didn't really grok until my last playthrough. Watch this. So I'm going to switch to the Anspur Rapier. And this is not an ideal guy to do that with, but I'm going to switch my Ash of War to Blooms Twice. Watch this. Hold on, Okay, he has poison built up. Watch what happens. That was a 3,000 point hit, right? Poison's gone. So this Ash of War... Hold on. There, poison. God damn it. It's not what I'm telling you to do. 2,000 point hit. Okay, rot. 2,000 point hit. It acts like a bleed that you can control when it happens to some degree. So I actually did a whole build based around this ability because with the Antspur rapier, you get rot and then you can add poison to it, but you can also switch poison to bleed. But if you then use Talier, for example, on a fight, he poisons everything up, and you can just keep blasting stuff with that ability. It was not enough to go to do it with Radon, because every time that I would land that, he's got another attack coming in and smashing me for half my hit points. But I actually found that while poison has its uses when you want to kind of plink something far away and wait for it to die, up close it's not great, only because the fights aren't long enough for the poison to really do its job. What this lets you do is proc the poison into a big damage smash, and I found that to actually be quite useful. The problem is that it requires a lot of sort of planning to actually make that thing work. So I'm not, it's not that it's like a problematic thing. I just ultimately didn't find it to be that great. It's a bit like Reduvia. I know some people love using this one. I don't get it. Hold on. It's got the bleed hits in there for sure, but you got to be up close. It's kind of like this one's a bit dangerous, but if you do yes, except it does damage to you. So you can actually kill yourself accidentally doing that one. There's also this one. Which is more like a slash. Doesn't have the bleed buildup. So the weapon art of Gaius? I'm actually not a fan of bleed builds. So probably not. Okay, let me get back to making some progress in the game anyway. Um, uh, because given the choice, I'll take this one. For all that bleed. No, I mean, it's to have fun playing the game. There's not any major, you know, playthrough number 13, right? So what I'm deciding is if I want to head down here and pick up the pieces of the. Do I want to actually pick up the talisman, or do I want to climb up through? I'll go through the back way. I've done all the endings. I've done the frenzied flame repair. Actually, did that one very recently. I've done the yeah. I've done frenzied flame repair. Talk to this guy real quick.
What do you need? I don't want any... All done? Well...
Let me go with an alternate answer to that. My goal? To pay my electricity bill with streaming. At least this part of the cost. That guy deserved it. Oh, that reminds me... There. Alright. Now I feel complete. My favorite weapon from the DLC. You know, I'm not actually a fan of the greatswords. Just in general. It's not really my thing. I've done playthroughs with them. And, you know, the problem is that I think probably the best weapon in the game is the Blasphemous Blade. It does it all. Or it does almost everything. I don't think that it's particularly the most fun, but the weapon art's amazing. The damage it does is great. If your mimic carries it, they're self-healing to some degree. There's just something really simple. You know what I mean? And there are times when it's like, all right, I'm frustrated. I just fall back to the Blasphemous Blade and sort of chew my way through whatever it is that I'm having issues with. not many people talk about that. I don't have the Morgoth's Cursed Blade. I don't really have an opinion. Like I said, I don't. Other than like bonk builds, I've just never been a big fan of the big weapons. It's not that I think that they're like inherently problematic. I just don't really enjoy the action of them, I guess. They feel a lot like, what's the way I want to explain it? I think they're designed around dodge, swing, and that's fine. Play the, if that's the game people want to play and have fun with, great. Please do, right? I've just never really been a big fan of that playstyle. Ah. Hello. Thank you. Oh, really? So against Melania, I've probably had my best luck with Malekith's Black Blade. Not that I'm going to claim that it's like a substantially better choice. I just think it's because it can knock her around so well, especially if you summon your Mimic with it. Hey, how's it going? Alright, Mimic I will summon as caster. Oh, and it's going to give me a chance to... Hold on. There we go. Are you on PC or console? Thank you, Sumam. Yeah, I'm on a PC, so all I can offer is advice, unfortunately. But I hope I can give you some decent advice. Um, what are you summoning an Ash to help? Okay. What kind of build are you doing? Are you doing a caster build or a melee build? Okay. Last. Is the weapon that you're using centered around doing... can't hear him come back. Is the weapon that you're using centered around holy damage by any chance? Okay. So those are kind of the mistakes that people make when they're trying to fight him. I don't have any like where did I pick that up? Anyway, I don't have any like specific excellent advice that I would give that I think would make much of a difference. Oi! He's out. Yeah, that's the Ghost of Godfrey, right? Is the first one? Yeah, I always use summons. So part of my advice usually is which summons to use. Okay. Suman, you're actually asking a bigger question than you might realize. So let me take a shot at answering it the best way that I can with a bunch of information. So the first thing on the shield is this. The best parry shield in game is the buckler. Specifically the buckler, because it has buckler parry. Not just parry, but buckler parry. And a lot of people don't realize that that's actually different than just a parry skill. It's a slightly larger window, so the buckler is the best parry item. The problem is it's got terrible defensive negation. So, but that's the trade-off. The idea is that you don't need the damage negation because you're parrying. So, that's the first thing. But here's the deal. you can actually put parryable skills on other shields. Let's say, for example, the Carrion Knight shield, right? This doesn't have an inherent parry on it. It comes with an Ash of War that you can use to parry. But here's the deal. There actually are a bunch of parry Ash of Wars. There's the Carrion Knight shield, which is what it usually comes with. But there's also, this one's harder to find, Sacred Shield. This is actually the best choice immediately behind Buckler Parry. Now, here's the catch. It will parry a much bigger area. So instead of just right in front of you, it'll actually parry a much broader area of things if your timing is good. The problem is every time you use it, it spends FP. Now that may not matter to you, but the parry window of this ability is almost as wide as the standard Buckler parry. I think it's 1 frame less on either side. So this one's almost as good, but it eats the FP. Now, the difference is, and it will parry spells. That's the other thing, is that this one, it's the Carrion one is actually the one that's better for that anyway. So if you choose this parry, Carrion Knight's parry, this one, notice it doesn't use FP if it doesn't actually succeed. So the parry itself doesn't cause the FP to be spent. When you use the... if you successfully parry a spell, then it will eat FP. But it'll also give you the 3 swords, whatever that's called, the thing that they shoot out. Yeah, Godfrey's... that's why I've never been very good at parry, because I'm just not good at the timing. What you're supposed to do is look at the wrist, and as they're going back, you'll see like a wrist shift, and then like thrust, for example, if it's a thrusting attack, or if it's a swing, you'll see like a... like that, and then they do the swing. You're supposed to try and parry that. That's when the parry timing is. YouTube videos, I wouldn't listen to my advice about parry. I'm terrible at it. But this gives you the ability to parry spells. If you parry a spell, it actually then loads up and becomes a weapon in itself. The defensive 3 sword thing, whatever it's called. So I would probably say that a medium shield, if you can afford the weight, the brass shield, is probably the best parrying item if you have either of those parries on it. That would be my recommendation, is the brass shield. If you don't have the weight for the brass shield, then any of the Ash of Warable shields will do well. But this is the brass shield. Again, it's very heavy compared to the rest of the medium shields. But if you can do the brass, right, it's twice the weight of the Sacred Beast. But if you can do the brass shield, that's a great choice. And you probably got 1,000 of them leveling up. So this parry comes with this shield. And you have to take it off because it's just an Ash of War. I don't know if it drops separately somewhere. It probably does. The other one that I showed you... the Sacred one has a wider parry range than this one, for example. So this parry has a more narrow window when it works. The Sacred one actually is... I'm chugging in the brain. No. It's not that one. Might be on one of these platforms. It's been a while since I picked it up. Should be that's just blue, I think. Might have been on one of these somewhere along the way. All right, that's new. I did not expect that. Cool. What was, hold on, what was the question? Nope. As I get for being cheeky. Ah. Somebody did a whole analysis. There's actually, if you search, there's a table that somebody generated that has all the various levels that you get of the frames, I think they call them. Oh, crap. Ow. Aw, come on. Oh, forgot about the horse attack. What? What? Bastard. Oi! boy! What? What? Ah. Oh, rats. Not in range. Oh, come on. Tree Sentinel, Patui. Uh. Ow. What? Good lord. There we go. Let me know how it works, manga.
I see thee, little tarnished, smoldering with that wretched flame.
Oh no. Hey, Mason. I wonder sometimes, does anybody ever use the Grace Mimics? Like, I know they're there. I don't think I've ever used one.
Is some custom well?
Now, something I actually didn't learn until a few playthroughs ago. Oh. There is something I haven't done yet. I just realized. And that's going to send me to Kaled. I have not summoned Millicent for this next fight. Come on. What a crazy assemblage over there. Okay. All right. All right, this takes me off the beaten path. It's time to fall into a teleporter trap. Try to be. So I'm doing it. Oh no, help! I'm in a trap. Ah. Alright, check this out.
I'd hoped a strap don't fresh. Should you I will teach. I need your name resting at the when the herb but Millis for this. Seek the needle. First, it's hidden, then I will secret.
Dark Souls 2. I haven't played any of the other Dark Souls game. This is the only one I've played. Which I realize is like a boring answer, but it's still true. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the only game I play at all, but it's the only one of these kinds of games that I play. Ooh, what's this? Lunar, Rental Bud, Smithing Stone 4. Eh. guy wants to stand there and keep taking moons, I will keep sending him moons. I got no problem with that. If you try one of the Souls games without Sekiro, you'll see that they are what Souls games without Sekiro? You mean? I'm not sure I understand what that means. Is Sekiro you just beat the Draconic Tree Sentinel? Oh, you're making your... Oh, I see. You're fighting your way in. Okay. Gotcha. Wait, but to help him, don't you have to have beaten the same boss? So... Okay. I thought... So, I've never helped someone, because pretty much almost everyone plays on console these days, but when I originally asked... when I asked someone about helping, what I was told is that you can help someone, you have to be in their level range, and I don't know what that range is, although that information could be partially incorrect, and that you have to have beaten the thing that you're going to help them with. But maybe I was misinformed. I genuinely don't know, because I haven't tried.
Go on. Well, the work of the... Can you give me as well, mate?
What the hell? Oh, hell. I missed the double jump. Goodbye. Good luck with the phone. All right.
Well, my flesh, it is a cup. If my flesh. If you are wise, you will my flesh.
All right. Back down. Run away.
I have awaited you the need. Will you give it? I will reward. Tend it to a wretched. Do you that I would show? Well, I'm the one. The mere she is. But the rotting. I doubt that. Oh, I'm
Through the whole storyline.
She's come. Do so.
All right, back to her.
If you are wise, my flesh. You are to quell. But never mind. I would rather than. Would you mind? Well, I apologize. Everything, even the nightmare. Not that I could. I with the needle, my destiny. It's all thank. My name is Min. I with the needle, my destiny.
Right, then back here.
Oh, something. So I decided I've only perhaps. Well, I must. Well, I must.
All right, so now I do not want to have to do that run back. So you may actually be about to see some stuff that I don't know that a lot of people, unless they do the research, know that you can do
For
all
giving
of what
me
I'm about to show you.
And stare. You've been as thank of the lost. Oh, indeed. It seems the however, no. As I've is to be.
All right. Now we want to go back to the Erd Tree Gazing Hill. She's here.
Ah, in truth, it's the scarlet rot has still as such. I've been, though rather than I realized I could have ate. After I should like, I think she's in the land. Now she's passed.
All right. That finishes that. Now I need to go get the prosthesis. Ow. So this is one of those locations where you definitely want to reset. You want to send this back down. There's a... good luck, Manga. There's a Volcano Manor quest fight up here. And it's handy if you have that teleporter. You kind of go straight here. But you want to have the lift at the bottom. Not even sure which of these ways is better. tell I've done something too much when I can, like, just go whoop. Know what's behind walls. Okay, so you don't need to be a generic mage, right? When I'm using the term mage, I mean a sorcery user, not a specific kind of sorcery user. You just need int. To be a samurai, if you're going for a katana build, it depends on whether or not the katana that you have requires arcane. So you don't need to level arcane if none of the items that you use require arcane. So most staves will use int, and then they may add another stat, in this case faith. So I would get enough. If you're trying to be a melee fighter with some spell use, then you want to primary on your melee stats. If you want to be a caster with the ability to swing a sword when you need to, you want to go the other way around. This staff here requires, 60 int. And this spell is like 68. Okay. When you're deciding what stat you want to raise, you want to look at these attribute scaling factors. This is for weapon use. Whatever you're going to do with a weapon, you want to look at these factors to determine what stats will make this weapon better. So Moonveil, which is the weapon I'm using, uses strength a teeny bit, dex a bunch, and int a bunch. It's possible that the scaling value built into that is better for one versus the other. For that, you got to go to the internet or experiment for yourself. But this is approximately what you'd want to look at. If, for example, I was using a Lordsworn straight sword, which I'm not, but let's say, right, and I wanted to look at the same thing, it's a strength dex scaling. If I put an Ash of War on it with fire, that's going to change those numbers. If it's Flame Art, it's going to be Faith. You can do anything with anything. The concept of a class doesn't exist in this game. You can start as a build. All that does is give you a set of gear and a starting set of stats that are good for that style and gear. From that point forward, it's up to you to either continue that style or to do something else. You can do anything with Bloodhound. As you progress through the game, you're going to be picking up an item, a series of items called, here, these whetstones. You should already have the whetstone knife. That should be one you picked up in the first hours of play. If not, there's a secret chamber. It's barely secret, but there's a kind of a hidden chamber that has that in there, and it's easy to get. You can go back and get it anytime you want. These are what let you add an aspect when you apply an Ash of War. And each one gives you a different one. This lets you put on, lets you do heavy and fine. Glintstone lets you put on frost and magic. Red Hot lets you put on Flame Art, Fire. Sanctified lets you put on Lightning and Sacred, and Black lets you put on Occult and Blood. I think I got them all. I probably could have been looking at it. Poison, Blood, or Occult for this one. How close was I? Sacred Lightning, Fire, Flame Art, Magic, Frost. Oh, I was almost heavy, keener quality from this one. And this lets you do it at all, I guess. So as you get these whetstones, they're lootable in the game. You pick they are in random locations on the map. The very first one that you want to get, the one you need, is in these ruins right here. It's right about there. Literally on the map. If you walk to that spot in that little place right at the beginning of the game, you'll find a chamber that goes down, and it's in a chest down there. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. As you pick them up, you gain the ability to add more arts, flame arts on there. You're welcome. And as you choose your items, the problem is that I'm not at a location where I can easily do it. So if you notice, Reduvia, that wants arcane. So if you're doing a build that doesn't need arcane, this isn't a good choice of weapon to use, because the weapon is going to want arcane to be more powerful, and you're not loading arcane because you're an int caster, for example. So there's actually a synergy that exists between all the stuff that you use. When you get very high level, I'm very high level, so my stats are all jacked. And because they're all really high, I don't have this problem. I just put the gear on for whatever build I want. The only, like, 45 arcane is actually a lot of arcane. Most people don't put stuff in there. So Reduvia could do more damage if I jacked up my arcane some more, but eh. Different weapons will have different balances. So the reason that these both say arcane is because they are blood. So this is Blood, Anspur's Rapier. Anspur's Rapier normally doesn't have a high arcane requirement, but because it is a blood weapon, that's the affinity, it adds arcane. And so as you do, yeah, you're way below that point. You should be focused entirely on one conceptual idea. Maybe at 47, maybe around 45 is where you start thinking, okay, what else do I want to do? I would probably, if you're going for a samurai type build, I think that pairs best with int magic. In which case, picking up a staff and doing that, but there aren't many buffs that you get from int, and so melee and int don't pair well in general, because there just aren't a lot of buffs you can add in. The buffs exist within the faith-based stuff. Right. So, in fact, that has to do with the aspects. If you look at the spells, so here are sorceries. This is Glintstone and Carrion, Full Moon, Magma, not Fire, Magma, Frost. These are more Carrion. They're actually a different kind of magic, but you can see they're the blue, right? So they're that kind of glintstone-ish kind of magic. Gravity, etc. This is all sorceries fit that category. If you look at the incantations, you've got Holy, Lightning, Fire, the Ghost Flame, Blood, Rot, Frenzied Flame, and then the Dragon Breath across the board. So if you want Magma on incantation side, you go with Dragon's Breath for that. You don't really have much choice. So this is where, yeah. So if you're going to do a build, if you want to do like a samurai-based build, that's fine. Stick with it, right? But I would not try and introduce magic into it, because what you're going to add is like Glintstone Pebble. And it's a good spell for range to like plink at things, but yeah, I would probably, you'd be better off with a bow than trying to do that. When you're ultimately looking, again, that's level based. If you're level 150, you should be thinking about what two things you want to be able to do really well. Every 100 points, 100 levels or so, you can think, what else do I want to do? And you can kind of pack stuff in. So arcane is something that is specific, not to a type of weapon, but to a category of Ash of War or skill that happens to be amped off of arcane, which is going to be blood. It's going to be occult, which is death blight type buildup, which isn't useful against bosses, by the way, but it does give you the stat bonuses that you want. And all of that ultimately leads down to what stats you're using in order to do more damage and be more defensive. That's really what ultimately all of this boils down to. So yeah, I would probably say, if you're genuinely looking for what direction to go, Moonveil is not a samurai type build. It happens to be a katana, but you wouldn't use that. If you're going for a caster samurai, this is your weapon. But if you're thinking samurai in general, this is not your weapon. This is not the direction that you want to go. I'd take the Uchi Katana as something low level, and if you want bleed, Rivers of Blood. You can't go wrong with it. So, if you want to do sorcery slash, like if your goal is, no, I want to use the Carrion stuff, that's a different thing. Carrion is a caster type, specifically. So you'll notice that this staff is the one that you want to get, the Carrion Glintstone staff. This specifically boosts Carrion sword sorcery. So this works on that category of spells to buff them. But here's the thing you got to be careful of. When you're looking at casting, and this is something that there's no one explains this very well, so I'm going to put it as simply as I can. The staff you use to cast a spell is the only place the game looks for the scaling on how powerful your spell is going to be. So, Prince of Death staff, sorcery scaling, when this is my character's using this staff, I have a sorcery scaling of 430. That is it's what makes my spells hit harder. That's what that 430 means. You want to cast your spells with a staff that has this number as high as you can get it. That's what makes your spells more powerful. There's more, but that's the key. Notice this staff has, has boost full moon sorcery, but the scaling's only 373. This increase in damage, this is a really hard staff to get. Don't go for this staff at your level. You have to beat Renalia. You have to be able to get an int of 60. You have to beat Rilana, the boss, which you may have done in general, and this one you then turn in her remembrance to get this staff back. But that's not why I was explaining it for different reasons. So this has a sorcery scaling of 373. This passive effect will work to increase your spell as long as you have it in a hand. So if I use this staff to cast the spell, I get sorcery scaling 373 and I boost full moon sorcery. Notice though it's offhand. So right now, if you look here, that's that staff offhand. This is the staff I'm using main hand. If I cast with this spell, this staff main hand, I get this sorcery scaling. Because this staff is offhand, it boosts full moon sorcery also. That's why you use two staves. The same thing is true for seals, which is what you use to do incantations. The same thing exists. So this seal boosts Fundamentalist, but it's also got a scaling of 391. If you're holding two staves and you cast main hand, you get that scaling. If you cast offhand, you get that scaling. For any passive effect listed here, as long as it's in either hand, you get it. Right. So, you generally will find that the best staff you can have main hand at your level is probably the meteorite staff. Or Staff of the Meteor. I forget which one it's called. I think it's called the meteorite staff. You can go run and get it right now. It is lootable from the ground. Go to YouTube. You can find videos on where to get it. That's going to give you a approximately in this area right here, in the Street Sages of Ruins, somewhere in this area. You're going to find in that area, there's going to be a spell, a specific spell called Rock Sling and a meteorite staff. You want both of those. There's a little area you can go underground. This entire area is a lake of rot. So you need to be on your mount the whole time, and there are guys to fight. So if you take your time, it's easy to go through there. You just kill things at range, blah, blah, whatever, right? The meteorite staff is the best staff early game. However, it cannot be upgraded. It cannot be upgraded. So at some point, if you upgrade a different staff, the scaling is going to go way higher. But early game, it is the highest scaling because it comes maxed out already. If you pick up the astrologer staff, so see how this staff is plus 10? That's upgraded. Same way you would like a sword and everything else. You cannot upgrade the meteorite staff. It's not capable. It's already max. There's no, you can't make it plus 2, plus 3, whatever. It is what it is. So early game, it's got the best scaling factor, but it will never change. Okay, I want to add one more thing. The scaling factor of a weapon, whether it's melee or otherwise, right? It could be a melee weapon, right? If you want to think about what its bonus damage is, they don't give you the number on the screen, but it's basically the same thing. This number here is calculated from this and your stats. So if I added int or subtracted int, this number would change. So one of the ways that you can tell whether or not your stats are a good match for staff is look at what these are. I have a Faith of 80, which makes this staff excellent. It's the best staff in the game that doesn't have some jacked up property. So this is the best staff in the game if you have an int and a faith above 78, approximately. That's going to get you the best sorcery scaling. There is another one called Lusat's, which I have in inventory, I think. No, I didn't even put it in inventory. Here, by the way, here's the meteorite staff. With my stats, its sorcery scaling is 272. It also feeds off of strength a little bit. No, it's... yeah, so... oh, one last thing. This passive effect here does not change with the level of the weapon. If you want this as an offhand and you're never going to cast with it, there is no reason to upgrade the staff. If all you want is the passive effect, this has no bearing on what this is. The sorcery scaling has no effect on the passive effect. So if you pick up this, for example, the Gelmir Glintstone staff, for the lava sorcery increase, you do not need to upgrade the staff. It happens that if you upgrade it, it's got pretty good stats. Int, faith, and sorcery, and strength. It's pretty good if you jack up your stats pretty high. Anyway. Alright, back to the game. Too many things, too many things. You're welcome. And this is what I came here for, Valkyrie's prosthesis. Now I go back to Erdtree Gazing Hill. There's nothing in the game that does a really good job of explaining how these numbers work, and there are other people that don't tie them together in a way that actually makes
Now
sense.
she's passed into... Are you giving me... I think it might be... It might be perhaps...
Okay. So people will go through and they'll explain attribute scaling, and then they'll explain sorcery scaling, but they don't tie the fact that if you watch your sorcery scaling, you don't need to watch this unless you're deciding where you're going to put points in. This is what gives you that number. So... All right, our next stop is up here. Watch this. So that Millicent questline, there's a reason I jumped off of what I was doing to do this Millicent questline. And you should do this questline if you're in your first playthrough. Don't skip this. It happens to be a very cool questline, but there's a bunch of other cool stuff that it leads to. One of the things that you'll get for finishing this quest line is an ancient dragon, an ancient somber, which is like a pretty high value thing. I don't want to get fired on by these trebuchet. That's why I'm killing those guys. There's still one up there, but I'm not going to go for it. But if you don't knock out these three... Okay, this quest line I'm working on, that chick, the Millicent, the one that I just talked to, is a long quest line in the game. I'm actually doing a chunk of that quest line right now. That's what I've been working on. So that prosthesis is what you give it to her, and she's like, oh, wait, because she doesn't have, she's missing an arm. That gives her her arm back. So part of her quest line is she becomes summonable. And that's what I'm doing next, is I'm going to the next location where she's summonable. Let me show you one other thing. And this may be useful at your level. This is another one of those hidden little gems in the game. You can only do it once, but it's worth paying attention to. So just follow this wall. It just stops you from getting hit by that trebuchet. That's the trebuchet. If that hit, it hurts, by the way. What's this? Rune arc. I'll always stop for a rune arc. They got angry. Alright. Make your way up. And this right here. See that yellow? This lets you summon Millicent for this fight. A lot of people do not know about this, by the way. You ride up here, you go through this whole thing, and because you didn't do Millicent's questline, you never actually end up seeing that aspect of the fight, which is a bummer. And if you have them, you can buff her too. Now, the reason for this is that guy right there. So you can get her help on this. So I will... That sword that I'm using, this is a Duelist Moonblade. This is a very late game item unless you make a very pointed effort to target straight at it. I'll tell you how to get it, but this is, if you think of this as the quest result, this is the longest quest in the game. So, let me, hold on, camp this out, give me just a moment.
Oh, the arm you get feels. Perhaps it is us. It is the...
Alright. You need to go here. To this place. Have you done this area yet? No, it's a spell. A Duelist Moonblade. I don't think there's any Ash of War that does that. Okay, so at the top of this tower is Rena, or Rani, depending on when you encounter her. She gives you a quest. You want to do that quest line. If you do her quest line, you will eventually end up with this sword. You have to go very, very deep into her quest line to do this. What's going to happen is she will ultimately send you underground. That requires one of two things. You either have to beat Radon. He cracks open the world here, in this area, and you go underground from here. You will eventually end up... Oh, it's not on my map. You'll end up underground. There is a very long series of things you have to do. Eventually, you will beat Estelle something or other. Estelle of the Night Sky, or whatever it's called. It's a boss down underground. You beat that boss. That will give you a ring. Ring of the Night, or Ring of the Night Moon, or something like that. That, then, you take back to here. And you use that to open this chest.
Come out from whence
In this chest, I apologize, I screwed up. You get a key. The key opens this chest. Out of this chest comes a ring. That ring opens the wall at the back of that room that boss was in. There's a lift that will take you up to this... Where is it? To this place here. This village of Albanarax is under this plateau. All of these, the Deep Well Ansel as well, you'll come up from that boss's room. You pop up here. You'll make your way to this Cathedral of Manus Celis. Anyway, make your way here. And in here is where you will encounter the end of her quest line. And there's a dragon guarding this that you kill, and that's where you get that sword that I was just using, that spell that I was just using, a Duelist Moonblade. From that thing, when you get down in there, that's actually where you get... Oh, I put it away. The Dark Moon Greatsword. Now, you can actually do this earlier in the game than you might think. But you have to focus on it. There is, by the way, a secret way to get down there, but to get down there, you have to go into the city already. If you go into this deep into the city here, to the Frenzied Flame Prescription, there's a secret wall that you can use to go underground to the same place that she would send you. But you have to go all the way through the city, and you have to go all the way underground and all the way to the very bottom of the underground in the city. I would recommend doing it the other way. Alright. Now, I go back to the Erd Tree Gazing Hill. Maybe. Yeah, she shouldn't be here. I'm only aware of the windmill fight, the dragon tree sentinel. What are the other two fights you can summon her for? That's okay. I've always beaten him myself yesterday also. But I've never summoned her for that fight. So I'm doing this because I wanted to use her as a summon. Yeah. Blackblade Kindred, is that the one after Godfrey? Yeah, that means that you haven't advanced outside the area enough. By the way. You know what's really fun? This. Hold on. I want to wait for that archer. This is fun. Oh, nope. Okay, there we go. Get him. Get him. Ha ha. I love doing this. Love it. Sorry, I just think this is so much fun. Messing with these guys. Now, I'm trying to think what kill... have you killed, Rolania, or whatever her name is? That's why. You have to beat her before you can go into the city. Ah, rats. Ow. Oh, yeah, totally. That's what you should do. What? Lies. Ah, that was so close. It's funny how much harder these guys are than these guys because you can hit these legs. I keep doing that, man. Look, don't rush through anything. Enjoy the hell out of the game. Like, explore everything, do everything. In my opinion, that's what makes the whole game worth it. Oops. Well, that was awesome. What's funny is that Stake of America's not there for these guys, if I remember correctly. Yeah. It's actually for the dragon guy. Oh no, it is the one for these guys. Never mind. Uh-oh. I'm going to get pasted. All right. Now, there should be 2 summon signs. Nice. One is Millicent. Check this out. And one is, what's this dude? Trodgar or whatever his name is? Tragoth. You can get this armor set, by the way. I forget where. Yeah. There. And... see what kind of damage we can do. Ah, so you can't kill Patches. Bummer. Well, I mean, the level helps, but having 3 people there with me helps even more. Alright, I think I'm going to call it here. I got to do some lunch and take care of some real life stuff. Thank you all for being here for my near 3-hour stream. Like and follow, always appreciate it. And, you know, come back by. Talk to you later, Mackenzie. Newski. Already? I'm not even gone. Anyway, you guys be awesome. Seriously. And I will talk to you all later. And I will be there watching Miami Metal in Anaheim at USA Super Nationals. And I should be at NCAA Daytona College Championships. Anyway, be awesome, and I will see you guys later.